Today we have all three major headlines blush, double take, cream, and powder blush duos, along with the lip glosses from Patrick Ta and swatches galore. Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Well, I am wearing my major merch Patrick Ta shirt, so you know that means it's a Patrick Ta video, obviously. We've been very excited about this one. We are going to talk about all three shades of his brand new Major Headlines Blush Double Take Cream and Powder Blush Duos, and two of the new shades of the Major Volume Plumping Lip Gloss. I am so happy to have you here. Don't forget that you can also see my content over on Instagram, TikTok, and on Threads. But let's get started here because we've got a lot to do. We're going to demo them on both cheeks. We're going to demo them in two different ways. We got comparisons. We've got swatches in two different lights. We are very, very busy. Some programming notes. On tomorrow's show, we'll have the new Dolce & Gabbana along with the brand new Sonia G 4. We have a quartet of 4 new limited edition brushes, eye brushes. So we'll have that for tomorrow in case you were wondering. Today, if you can spare the time on the weekend and settle in, I'd love to have you here for the whole thing. But if you are like me and always in a hurry, please do not hesitate to use the timestamps listed below in the description bar or along the bottom here to find the exact bit of information that you need and be on your way. But I do hope you come back. Okay, let's talk about it here. So, Patrick Ta has released, as I told you, 3 new shades, and they're a fingerprinty mess, I apologize, of his Major Headlines Blush Double Take Cream and Powder Blush Duos, and I have all 3 of them right here. He has released Just Enough, which is a cool pink shade. Let me find that. Here we go. He has released Just Enough, which is a cool pink shade, and we have the cream on the top and the powder on the bottom. Now you're going to have to indulge me. If you've been with my channel a while, you know what I'm going to say here. Yes, you do. There's a plastic flap here that keeps the powder from getting into the cream and the cream from getting into the powder. They stop them from mingling and kissing one another. Yeah, it's true that a lot of brands use this. Natasha Denona uses it, and in fact, Patrick Star in One Size uses it, to name but a few. But I do like the ring of it, so I've named this flap after Patrick Ta himself, and you know I like to call this the Ta flap. So we have to move the Ta flap to get it out of the way. You know, my goal, you guys, is to get Patrick Ta to actually hold up one of his products and just casually use the term Ta flap. That's when I'll know my work here is done. So someone's got to put in a word for us. There will be a party across my community when Patrick Ta himself actually calls this plastic flap a Ta flap. That's what it is to me. So this is the cool shade. We have the cream blush up here and the powder down below. Don't forget, Patrick Ta did have, when he first launched his line, just a powder blush. We have one of those here actually for comparison. Just, you know, where the whole compact was one powder blush. But that cream and powder combo has become really associated with the brand. He does it in his eyeshadow too, right? And it's really something he's famous for. He layers them in an interesting way, which you'll see in the demo. He likes to always finish with the cream. Most of us like to powder our faces last, but Patrick Ta feels it gives it a melty, glowy look when he finishes with the cream. We will talk about that in the demo. There's also the shade Not Too Much, which is this one right here. It's kind of a rosy taupe shade, again, with the Ta flap separating that cream on top from the powder down below. And last but not least, the one I'm actually currently wearing, which is She's the Moment, kind of a warm apricot shade, moving the Ta flap. We have the cream up top and the powder down below. And we are going to swatch all of that and do some comparisons. These are, by the way, $38. There are 3 new ones. There's now 12 shades total. There's also those 2 blush shades that were in the holiday face palette. We'll talk about those as well, because there's some pinks in there to compare. The one thing I will say about these before we move on and talk a little bit about the lip glosses is that these are much more subtle. If you remember when Patrick Ta first launched his line, he had these single shades, here's one right here, that were much more subtle. Then recently, all the releases were very, very powerful. I continually make the joke, I'm cleaning off my fingerprints here on my pants. I continually make the joke that you could over apply even if the compact were still across the room. You know, you just look at it and you've got too much blush on. And I know a lot of people told me, I'm going to skip these releases because of that. Actually, this has been a concerted effort to go back to a more of a subtle look for those customers and makeup artists who were asking for that. So these are much, much more subtle. And Patrick Ta himself is such an amazing artist and teacher, and he's been like all over Instagram. I've been watching him show how some different ways that he applies it, and we'll talk about that in the demo as well. Okay, the major volume plumping lip gloss are $26. These are, there's 5 new shades of this. That makes 10 altogether. And I picked up 2. I picked up the shade Obviously, which is kind of a toffee shade. We'll try them both on. And the shade Need Her, which I'm wearing right now. Again, we'll try it on though. This is kind of a blush shade. And we will also swatch these, of course. These use peppermint to kind of draw blood essentially to the lips, and it does make them puff up a little bit so they can be plumping and hydrating. $26 if I didn't say. These have a little bit of that Patrick Ta scent to them. What does that mean? It's kind of like tutti frutti. That's what I would call it. And it hasn't always been my favorite in the past. It's not too overwhelming and it dissipates, but it's not like a sweet vanilla. It's like a tutti frutti scent. What is that, Rebecca? I don't know. Like really ripe fruit, maybe? And like I said, they use peppermint and it does sting. I would say, and I say this in the demo, I'd give it about a 5 on the sting scale, 1 out of 10. And I do say this in the demo, but it bears repeating, a little bit like Fenty Heat. But in the demo, I'll give you a more sliding scale of what to compare it to. They are really pretty, and we will be trying those on. The packaging on these is really pretty now that I've removed my fingerprints. You know, and my members only live, and this is down below. It's $4.99 a month. Information to join us is down below in the description bar. We'd love to have you. But some people were saying that they found this all fiddly and hard to open and hard. It is a little bit hard to open, but you know, once you figure it out, it's different than, you know, Tom Ford has the same type of palette, but his opens on the top. This one opens underneath. But yeah, some people say the products are a little fiddly. And this gloss has a really nice big fat doe foot that's really easy to use and put on the product. In the past, I have really loved Patrick Ta for his blushes. I haven't been blown away by his lip products, but they are very pretty. And actually, he did have some like kind of lip oils come out a while ago that I was quite enamored of, actually, I will admit. All right, let's do some swatches and some comparisons. First, just the new products here in studio lighting first. We have on my arm, and we're going to swatch it with cream and then powder, okay? So first, just the new products on my arm in studio lighting. We have Just Enough, cream and then powder, that cool pink. We have Not Too Much, that rosy taupe shade, cream and then powder. She's the Moment in the apricot, warm apricot shade, cream and then powder. And then we have, right next to it, we have Obviously the toffee shade in the volumizing plumping lip gloss, and Need Her, the kind of blush shade in the volumizing plumping lip gloss. But how are we going to see these better? Come on, you know it. Outside in the warm California sunshine. So take a look at these. Again, we have Just Enough, Not Too Much, She's the Moment, 2 swatches each for cream and powder. And then Obviously and Need Her in the lip glosses. Pretty stuff. Okay, well, where do we start with the comparisons? The first thing I will say to you guys is that I do a ton of comparisons over on my Instagram. And I would love to have you come on over there or ask me down here below, and I will happily tag you and do whatever your little heart desires, a cross brand or within the brand, or if you need to see some of these up close or whatever you need. But let me just show you what I kind of pulled just to look at here today. This will be the most requested. We are going to compare Just Enough cool pink shade. Let me get that top flap out of the way. The Holiday face palette, remember that one? We have these 2 shades here. This shade here. She's Giving. Here's our new one. Here's She's Giving. Here's our new Not Too Much. Here it is next to She's So LA. She's Flushed. These are some of my favorites. Here it is next to She's Blushing. And here's Do We Know Her? Do We Know Her is our older one, and She's the Moment here. And then one of those original Blush Solo shades, which is She's Sincere. Do you remember this one? With this here. Okay, just with that set alone, we got more, but with that set alone, let's take a look at my arm here in studio lighting. We have those same swatches on top, and then we have some over and under. So in the middle, of course, you know that we have just enough, not too much, and She's the Moment. On top of it, across the top, is the 2 different shades from the holiday palette, which is 4 swatches, because there's cream and powder. Then we have She's Giving, 2 swatches. She's So LA, 2 swatches. She's Flushed, 2 swatches. She's Blushing, 2 swatches. And underneath the new shades, because I just ran out of room, we have Do We Know Her and She's Sincere. The She's Sincere is only 1 shade because that was the single product before Patrick Ta was just doing these kind of cream powders. Swatches, we got more swatches. I'm going to add in those blush palettes. Now, some of these blush palettes, the blushes have made appearances singly. So I'm just going to show you here. Here's the first one. My top flap is broken on this one. It's a shame. And we'll have that up there in a moment above it. I just needed to clean my arm off and start over. And then remember this one? This was the second one. It's got 2. This was a highlighter. So that one is not, the highlighty shade is not going to be in there. All right, let's go to that. Here we go. We have our brand new shades still in the very middle, just enough, not too much, and She's the Moment. But above it, we have that original blush palette in She's a Doll, She's Vibrant, and She's Baked. And then underneath it, those 2 shades, because the third, of course, was a highlighter, but we have Giving Flirty and Giving Sun-Kissed underneath that. That's a lot to take in. And I blew through them fast, because some people really need to freeze the frame there and take a look at those really, and please, I do invite you to pause it. Some people say you don't leave it up there long enough. Yeah, I know, but I figure you can pause. I don't know, tell me if you hate that. Let me know. I don't want to just leave it up there indefinitely. People just, get on with it. But if you do need to see them really close or something, or you need something else, or you want to see, sometimes a lot of people will want to see just the new pink shades, the new Just Enough next to a certain pink, and only that, so they're not overwhelmed. Like stuff like that, just request it. I mean, I'm happy to do it. Very in touch with my community over here on Not Fit for Print Beauty. By the way, speaking of being in touch with my community, we are almost at 20,000. Please put me over the edge. If you're not subscribed, click subscribe. If you are subscribed, I am told all the time, so many creators are, a lot of people get unsubbed. Thanks, YouTube. So if you could check that you are still subscribed, gosh, I would absolutely love it. Okay, here's what we need to do now. We are very, very busy people. We need to try on these blushes, different way on each cheek, and of course these plumping lip glosses, which I'm telling you are just plumping away right now as we speak. So stay tuned. Okay, now we've got all that business stuff, comparison stuff out of the way. Let's just play with the makeup, shall we? And since I have timestamps, you can just, if you're here to see a particular shade, you can go to that. But I think I'll put, we're going to use both cheeks for each color. And I'll do one a little subtle and one a little more pronounced. Though that would look a bit silly on me, it should help give you a better idea of what we're working with here. In terms of the major volume plumping lip gloss, let's go ahead and try, obviously, the toffee shade. We'll change it later since I bought 2 to need her later. But this is that toffee shade. Very pretty. And feels a lot like an oil. Has peppermint, as I mentioned, but I definitely feel the burn, as they say. I definitely do. I don't know if that would annoy you, but yes, I can feel it. I would say on a level of incredibly painful burning with the old bee sting and stung, Too Faced had a lip injection, was it? With that being a 10, can't go higher than 10. And with some of the newer ones like Too Faced Kissing Jelly as a 1, I would put this at about a solid 5. It is going from kind of a spicy heat to about, to leveling off a little bit. I would put this as about as painful, if painful is the right word, and I don't think it is, but I would put it on a par with the Fenty Heat, if that helps. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the blushes now. Again, we'll do it on one side, just kind of how I would really wear it, and then on the other side, a little bit deeper. Okay, I have brushes. I got brushes. I'm not going to cross-contaminate so that you can definitely see the colors clearly. We're going to start, of course, with our first shade, which is Just Enough, our kind of cool toned pink shade. Now remember, these are a lot more subtle than the others that we've been seeing, which are very, very loud. Patrick Ta likes to flip things around a little bit if you don't know this. If you do know this, I'm sorry to bore you, but Patrick Ta likes to do cream on top of powder, which is the opposite of how we do this a lot. But in the videos I've been seeing on Instagram of him demonstrating his own product, on some of them, perhaps because they're a bit more subtle, he is doing cream, powder, cream. He loves to finish with a cream because he feels it blends it all in. So you have a choice. You can do his typical way to do it. You can do it any way you want. But you can do his typical way to do it, which is powder and then cream, or cream, powder, cream. Let's try both, okay? So I'm going to use a Sonia G mixed material brush with some synthetic in it. So this will be just the application like he did with cream and then powder and then cream. So there it is, just the cream, switching to a Wayne Goss number 2 brush, and let's put some powder over that. Remember, I'm going to do it like Patrick Ta does. So I am going to always end with a cream. Back to the cream. And this will give you a little more intensity if you like that. What do you think? Now, if we go over to this side and do what I would normally do, if I were, say, going out, then we would take the powder brush, that was the Wayne Goss, and do powder with cream over it. I'll exaggerate just a bit so that you can see what it looks like. And then back into the cream, moving the Ta flap out of the way. Oh, actually, I think we get a bit of a bolder look, don't we? Huh, that surprised me. We were getting a little bit of a bolder look with the traditional way that I've always seen Patrick Ta apply, which is powder followed by cream, interestingly enough. Okay, so here is the same light cool pink palette called Just Enough. On this side of the face, I thought I was going bolder, who knew? And I did cream, powder, cream. On this side of the face, we have just the typical powder followed by cream, and it actually is intensified, which I'm surprised. So I hope you can see that. Well, that is very pretty, and it has been a while since we have seen a pink that is not so terribly electric. I think you'd all agree. Okay, I'm going to take that off. I'll take off the lip gloss too so we can try on that other shade. By the way, it's been a few minutes that we've been playing around with this blush. This has gone into a slightly cooling moment. It no longer stings or hurts. That's the toffee kind of colored shade. And it's definitely done a bit of plumping. I mean, if it hurts or burns a little bit, you know you're doing something. Okay, so I'll take both of these off and let's come back. We got 2 more blushes and 1 more lip gloss to try. Okay, and a warning to haphazard content creators and those of you who like to change up your blush. Don't take the makeup remover and remove the stinging, plumping lip gloss and then the cheeks. My cheeks were burning. My own fault. Nobody but myself to blame. Okay, speaking of these lip glosses, let's try on Need Her, which is kind of a blush shade. I thought would be pretty with the other 2. Oh, that is pretty. It's got that slightly cloying tutti fruity scent that Patrick Ta likes. I prefer vanilla if I've got a scent. This is kind of tutti fruity, but that's really pretty. And we know it is going to plump. I actually prefer that shade. That's actually really, really pretty. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go into Not Too Much. This is the kind of rosy taupe shade and will probably be a favorite of mine. I am pulling up the Ta flap. Oh, when will Patrick Ta say it? One of these days he will. Okay, again, a little mixed great brush from Sonia G that we'll do some of the creams with. So let's do what we did on the last, okay? So we're going to do on this side of the face, we will do cream, powder, cream. And on this side of the face, we will just do the traditional way that Patrick Ta usually has done it when I've seen him, which is powder followed by cream. See if I can get it a little bit livelier here. Okay, switching this time to a Wayne Goss, number 11 for the powder. just put that over. Now, if you might say, well, Rebecca, is there some sort of a, makeup police law against doing it the way I want, which is, cream followed by powder only? Do whatever you want. It's your face, it's your makeup. Anyone who tells you their rules, there are certain things to look out for, but no, do what you want. Jeez, don't let anyone tell you you're wrong. You're not wrong. But I'm just, trying this out. Oh, I kind of like this application, the way Patrick Ta does it. I just think it's really interesting. And what he does, he's being a little more, he's really making a much more editorial and smooth look, of course, than I'm doing. But he really does a lot of powder and lighter powder here so that this goes all the way up into the eye. And then this really light part of the eye that still shows, above the cheek. I thought that's kind of nice. Okay, so here we have not too much, and it isn't too much, is it? And I applied that in the way that I saw Patrick Ta do it, which is cream, powder, cream. Always finishing with the cream. And we are going to do this the way I normally use his blushes, which is on this cheek. It was darker with the other shade, let's see, which is powder followed by cream. Again, there are no mistakes. You do you. I tend to like these shades from Patrick Ta the most. Okay, so there is our powder look, and then I will follow that, switching brushes to our cream. It is a little bit bolder, actually. I don't know which one you guys prefer. I'm kind of really glad I tried it both ways. Okay, so this is the shade Not Too Much, the Rosy Taupe shade. On this side of my face, traditional powder, followed by cream. And on this side of the face, cream, powder, cream. Do you have a preference? Okay, I am going to leave on this lip gloss since I only have two, and we are going to come back to do that kind of apricot, that kind of warm apricot-y She's the Moment. Stay right there. All right, I have kept on the really, really pretty, this is my favorite one actually, Need Her gloss. I'll put on a little more. How's it feeling in terms of stinging? Well, admittedly, I did just have the first shade on, the shade Obviously, so it kind of got used to it. But I actually like this gloss, and this is really the first time I've kind of liked his glosses. He had those clear glosses he did a fair bit ago that I actually liked as well. Remember that? 2cc's and things like that. These are nice. I don't love the smell, but I don't hate it. Okay, we have one more of the new blush shades to go. This is called She's the Moment, kind of a warm apricot. I'll move the top flap out of the way, and we are going to start. This is the one I got left, a Sonia G Fusion brush for the cream. Remember, this side will do cream, powder cream. So I'll target it. I know it's not big enough brush, guys. I got some brush laundry to do, and let me tell you, my staff, my staff is not, keeping my stuff clean as they usually do. They're really falling behind on the job. So, heads will roll. Okay. All right, and then we're going to go in with our Wayne Goss #1. Hey. And put that powder over the top. This seems to be our boldest one yet, doesn't it? But in true Patrick Ta form, I really want to finish with the cream. Okay, that is cream, powder cream. Okay, and now let's go ahead and do this side in the traditional way. Powder first on this really pretty apricot. See, now these are much more wearable. It's really funny because those really bold blushes, we all ran out, not we all, but, for the most part, colloquially, and they were really powerful. As I joke, from across the room, you could see them. And this one, I'm really over applying, and it's still pretty. And I will finish with the cream. And this one is going to be the most overdone of the looks, to be honest. So interestingly enough, cream, powder, cream is more subtle. Who knew? Because this side is our more subtle cream, powder, cream. This side, I really did overdo it. And this is our powder with cream over it, like I've always seen Patrick Ta do in the past. Again, please do you. If you want to wear just one of these, the cream or the powder on its own, or combine them in some other way, or drape them, please do you. Then makeup is a way to express ourselves. And I think sometimes these very stringent rules and people who seem to be very, dictatorial about makeup, it's silly. It's just for fun. So please enjoy yours however you purchase them. Now, I did notice that they had the FDA warning that some of these are not eye safe. That's just because they have been known to cause irritation. Use at your own risk. I didn't see if all of them were that way, but I tend to just throw caution to the wind. I'm a rebel, and I think these would be very pretty on the eyes, but I know that the brand can't recommend that entirely, but I would do it. Look at that. That's pretty bold, but I really went hog wild on that side. Really pretty. I will say that these are much more for me. I have the others, obviously you saw in my collection. They're too bold. What can I say? I know it's a bold blush time, but it's a little too much for me. Like I say, when you're standing across the room and you've still somehow applied too much and you haven't even walked over to the compact yet. So I do like this a little more, but I am really in love with this powder cream. I think it helps the longevity as you build it, and I think it gives it a really pretty kind of melty, glowy look. So give that a try if you purchase these and tell me what you think. In terms of the lip glosses, boy, they feel like an oil, they feel like a gloss. I love Patrick Ta, but I don't think his glosses are what makes him special, but they're certainly very pretty, and they're plumping in the middle without being excruciating. So that's, my thoughts there. They're very pretty, but these are the winners. They remind me of the single shadows that I showed you one of from Patrick Ta earlier, that are just a little bit more subtle and wearable for every day. Because some of these were they were a bit demanding of your time and maybe of your expertise too. So these are a lot less intimidating. There's a good word for it. Okay, here's where you come in, and this is what makes us a community. Let me know down below what you think. I know I'm a little mismatched here. I'll go fix it. But let me know what you think. Did you purchase any of these? Are you a fan? Were you worried that these would be as overwhelming as the last release blushes were? What are your thoughts? I'm very curious, and can I answer any questions along the way? Now, I know that a lot of comparisons are being done, but if there's something I can do for you with this brand or cross brand over on Instagram, please do not hesitate to ask here or ask me on Instagram, and I will make sure that I do that for you. That's what I do with my Instagram page, and I'm thrilled to do it for you. So just ask, and any questions along the way. Don't forget, of course, to like, to share, and of course to subscribe. We are getting almost to 20,000, where I will have a Q&A, ask me anything. I have no secrets, kind of boring, but ask me anything. All right, I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video. Bye-bye.